Yeah, 9 in the morning. The past 24 hours have been quite a challenge for me, especially because of the turn of events and certain things that have transpired. So I wrote a letter 2 days ago in the evening, addressing the head of state and seeking an audience, asking for an appointment for a meeting. And this was inspired by the fact that a lot of people challenged me to say, you have come out strongly, standing firm on the things that you are speaking against and the concerns that you're raising about things that you feel need to change in the nation. And but for how long are you going to talk on social media? For how long are you going to post these videos where you're expressing your views? Don't you think you need to take the next step where you actually engage the people that have the power to be able to put some of the things or take some of the things that you are saying into consideration? And that was a good challenge for me. So I said, okay, I tried to apply what I would regard as my wisdom to say, let me do the right thing by actually writing, so that because the challenge right now that I feel we've had in all this is that the ministers, and in this case talking about the provincial minister, gave an impression that we cannot advise. We cannot advise. So if I'm going to take my advice through a cabinet member, then it would not reach the head. So I took it that maybe the best way is just to be able to take it straight to where it needs to be. Yeah, so I wrote a letter and then I communicated with somebody that I know who works at State House, and I asked them for the procedure to say, how best do I do this? And they said, oh yeah, you've done well. Writing is actually the way to go, and as a Zambian citizen, you have the right to do this, and you can actually come and drop it off at State House. Yeah, so early in the morning yesterday, at the agreed time, I took that letter, and my aim was just to drop it there and leave it there and then go back and wait for feedback. Yeah, but then I was allowed to sit there for a while and get to compare notes and also just talk about the contents of the letter and what I would want this meeting to be about, just for me to kind of give them a picture of what I wanted to discuss. And what's in the letter is not confidential. It's things that I have been speaking about. The first one is youth development, wanting to know how government can improve on their communication with regards to what government is doing in addressing the ongoing youth challenges. There are so many, including unemployment, and also what opportunities are available. And then the second one on the agenda is the recent concerns on to do with foreign employers or foreign investors
and the treatment of
Zambian workers, and the feedback that is coming from the youth in that regard. So these are the things that are in the letter, and I try to highlight them. So in that particular moment, when we were talking about all these things, I want to consider this a meeting, because we have sat and we are discussing. So we were in a meeting, and I was talking to two people. They are the advisor to the president and also the press aide. And so they did mention to say, the moment you notified State House that you were planning to bring this letter to seek an appointment, we actually notified the head of state that you were bringing a letter, and he said he's done the right thing. That's a good thing, and that's a welcome move. But I also think, that's the head of state speaking, he says, but I also think it's important that he should also have a conversation with the Lusaka province minister, because they are at the center of a lot of things that are happening right now, before we can even actually get to talk about the meeting that is supposed to be there. So then they mentioned to me to say, by the way, the Lusaka province minister is actually around in the other building attending a different meeting, and we had even notified him that you were here. We asked him if he'll be the time you'll be here, maybe he could come and say hi. He said he's okay with it. So they asked me if I was okay with it. I said, well, I'm equally fine with it. And so that's how, before I could actually leave, they called him in, and he came and said hi. A bit of some pleasantries at the beginning. There wasn't much discussion. He just talked about the fact that he remembers that he used to see me in Kabwe at some point when I was starting my music career. Yeah, he mentioned that he's got a good relationship with a lot of artists from Kabwe. Yeah, so that's the kind of mood that he created. He said, oh, so in fact, some of the artists from Kabwe have called me to ask me what's going on between you and me. He did not offer an apology for the things he said to me, neither did he seek an apology from me. He just went straight to saying, well, I just want you to know that I am ready to be advised by you or any other youth in Zambia, and you can visit my office anytime. In fact, if you like, I can even invite you home, because maybe it would be important that we actually get to talk. Yeah, that's all he said. And then he said, oh, I need to dash back in the other meeting. Then he said, by the way, it's okay that we can take a picture together, because we actually have a mutual friend who actually called me recently and asked me what's going on and why I can't just approach you, and the fact that I used to see you in Cabo, because they had a conversation about me at some point. So he said, I want to send this picture to him so that he sees that we actually met. So that was the agreement, and so he said bye, went in the other meeting. Then I also said bye.
So in other words, there was no reconciliation. There was
no talk.
Reconciliation. I don't want to say there was no reconciliation. There was no.
Others will argue to say, what are you reconciling about?
Yeah.
What was the conflict? Yeah.
Okay. I'm curious just to hear from both Pilato and Maiko. Both of you have been involved in activism for a very long time. Are you surprised by some of the turn of events, whether it's whether it's, and I'm assuming that both of you have tried to take letters to State House. Are you a bit surprised that people have been that B-Flow was as welcomed as he was, meetings were held?
And it's a good thing that we are on several people. Because yesterday he called me and explained just what he's explaining to me. I want to put it very bluntly. What I see is obviously not surprising to anybody. Well, to me, it's not surprising at all, because we are in a situation where we've seen a sudden, I don't want to call it uprising, a sudden realization by artists of the power they have, the influence they have in society, and that is why this thing, even if it's centered around B-Flow and the artists of the photographer, it beyond these guys. Issues that are pertaining now have been boiling amongst the citizens of the country for a very long time. And so what we are seeing now, the realization by the people who have voices, whatever magnitude, and also the desperation by authorities to quell what is now, I think, low approval ratings from the public. Because right now, the common man on the streets does not really feel the benefit of being Zambian. Why am I saying so? There are certain fundamentals that we cannot run away from. There is issues like the cost of living, for example. You and I need no less than 7,000 kwacha today to earn a living. Whether you are an artist, whether you are a DJ, whether you are a radio presenter, the fact is that Zambia is going through one of the worst economic times. And people are hungry, people are starving, there is no medication in health facilities, the civil service seems, the system seems to have broken down, okay? You have institutions being compromised. And these are the fundamental issues that are surrounding issues that have come alive now, thanks to the platform that the artists have. So, and you know, young people listen to artists.
And they look up to us.
Yes,
as well.
more than politicians, to be honest with you. So, young people will be an artist like Chela, for example, who will come out semi-naked and put a message there. You know, they'll believe him more than President Edgar Lungu, who will come in a jacket and tie, you know, and hold a press conference at State House. You know, not that State House is a bad place. But these are the issues. So these issues are beyond artists. These issues are beyond, you know, funded institutions. These issues are beyond NGOs now.
But I mean,
these issues have boiled down to people's table.
But you've, and of all of us in here, the four of us who are in this room, you're the one person who's been to court more than any of us. You're the only person I know in this room who's been to prison cells more than anyone else. You've been speaking about these issues for a long time. You know, people have been accusing you of being funded by this, that, and the other. Today, when you look at what's going on, are you a bit? Do you have a smile on your face to say people are beginning to see what I've been seeing and what I've been talking about for a long time?
So the problem here, Luchi and everybody listening, is what we are experiencing now is what I've always been saying, that there is a threshold that people get to and they'll say enough is enough. And this is not it. Don't mistake to think that
this is not it.
This is not it.
Okay.
This is not it. The problem that we have is the lack of common sense in those that are leading us. Whenever you're dealing with a situation or problem, the first step, the most important step is diagnosis. So if you misdiagnose a problem, if you fail to understand the problem, you cannot find a solution to it. So in their lack of common sense, they are thinking that this is about Biflo. They've always thought this is about Pilato. They've always thought this is about Maiko. That's a wrong diagnosis. So in trying to deal with this problem, and you misdiagnose it, meaning you're going to prescribe a wrong treatment for it. What is happening right now is like Michael says, this is not about Biflo, this is not about Chela, this is not about Pilato, this is not about Michael, this is not about anybody else. This is about people, young people speaking out. And what they are saying now is not new to anyone. The only problem is because the people that have the mandate to find a solution to this problem have refused to diagnose the problem.